Hi everyone and welcome back. I'm Scott Withers here with the TD for the 2020 Resistance Discs Open, Mr. Jeff Korns.
How's it going, Scott?
It's good. So we are in round 2 right now. Hopefully you guys caught round 1. If you did not, stop the video, go back and watch round 1. But we are excited to be here doing some commentary from beautiful Camp Serene Park, just outside of Eugene, Oregon. You see round 1 scores. Jarod Gogal, 12 under par. That's got to be close to a course record for this layout. And then myself and Cole Redalen, and then Kenny Shelton and a number of others tied at 8. Chandler, lowest PDGA number, so he gets to join the lead card.
Yeah, this should be a pretty fun group to watch. We saw some super hot scores, especially from Jarod. And then we got a young up-and-comer that I'm sure the CH Sports fans are familiar with in Cole Redalen. And then you and Chandler, some veterans to the card. This should be another exciting round, I think.
It's very rare that I'm the most conservative putter in a card, but I would safe to say these guys are going to be trying to bang everything they look at. So it should be exciting. Hopefully we see some long putts going, but we're going to start on hole 1, 400 feet, 408 feet downhill. It's just a fast fairway driver shot for most of the people on this card. The idea is to hang it out kind of over the water. Jarod taking a much different route, and as a result, going to end up to the left.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that spot. And safe and in play is a good spot to be, as we saw from round 1. Definitely just don't want to put it in the water.
Yeah, I'm going back to my C-Line FD3 here, trying to hang it out over the water. That one could be flatter, I guess, but honestly, pretty good shot. I'd be happy with that every time. Inside those poles, inside the circle.
Yep. Cole's going with a new Discraft tracker that he just got from Dion Arland, he said the other week, and he's loving this one for just dead straight shots, and this is a great line.
Yeah, he keeps it a little lower, so moving more direct at the basket, and that scoots up inside 10 feet. Great shot from Cole to start the round.
Chandler looking to correct from round 1.
Oh, that's better. That one's not in the water.
Oh, but you can't really see it on the coverage. There are some power lines that run through the middle of the fairway. You can kind of see him there, but he clips the power line and hyzers out early. Just a really unlucky break.
Did you know those power lines were there? I'd only thrown the hole a couple times, but I had no clue there was power lines going across that fairway.
I clipped them one time, and I think that's the only time I've ever done it. Like I said, it's almost a complete fluke to hit them. It's just random almost when you do hit them.
At least it let his putter his drive continue to go forward. I get mixed up as Jarod throws his putter into the cage. Now I've got this 30-foot tester. The first round I made like a 40-45 footer on this, so I was feeling good about the putt.
Yeah, nice conversion for the birdie. 2 for 2 on this hole through your tournaments. Definitely a great way to always start your round.
Yep, and then Cole is absolutely parked. What a shot.
Yeah, he might be the last person to putt on this card. Chandler's just going to clean up a par by the looks here.
Yeah, maybe he's contemplating where his force went from the first round out in the middle of the pond and if he's going to get it back, but that is unlikely. So Jarod going to clean up a par, Chandler with the par. There's no shame in that on this starting hole, but as we talked about in the first round, you immediately get into the woods, and this course goes from your one kind of relaxing open hole to let's hit a bunch of gaps and see if we can get through some trees and let's make some putts.
Yeah, hole 2, we got a 346-foot turnover shot. We might see some players on this card throw the forehand. We might see them all go backhand. We saw a little mix of both first round, but you're making the adjustment now going backhand. What are you throwing here?
This is a new, it's kind of funny because it's kind of understable, but this is a new champion TL3, and I threw the forehand in the first round and we talked about it, and I can't get the forehand to this basket. It's just too far right. Honestly, you can see how tight Cole's trying to go, and this is a big mistake. He gets a little lucky to bounce out because those woods on the right, like all the woods at Camp Serene, are basically a bogey if you go into them.
Yeah, especially this one, you have a lot of work to get back to the fairway. Jarod's swinging it really wide, and I'm not really sure where he's at, but he's not going to like it.
I think he kind of got knocked down into a spot that he can throw from. Chandler birdied this hole in the first round, going back to the same comment. Might be the perfect disc for this hole for him if you hit the gap, but he did not. Did the same thing Jarod did, took a much worse kick, and he is well into the woods. Cole, as you can see, kind of took a knockdown and has an upshot, but that shot on video right there kind of shows how far away he still was, throwing a full putter kind of to get up and down to save par, and then Jarod doing the same thing. He was a little bit in front of that, but those are still 150-foot shots or something these guys are throwing.
Yeah, that's a pretty good distance from the initial gap that you have to hit. And that's an amazing scramble shot out of the woods from where Chandler's at. He's in jail.
And he only gets to 35 or so feet. Very makeable for Chandler. Some good hustle out of you on the catch cam, which we ended up not getting to use. But it's good to see you moving real quick to get out of the screen and get to the next hole.
Yeah, I was trying to hustle. This is my first time doing some camera work, so I'm jogging around trying to make sure I'm not in the way, just hustling wherever, just trying to add some value to the coverage, but unfortunately there was some issues with the way the memory card was set up, so we lost the B cam footage.
Yeah, we just blame that on you.
It's probably my fault in some kind of way.
Cole tapping in or getting ready to tap in for his par. Chandler with a great putt for par. And then Jarod is also right there for his. And I was pumped when I got up here and saw how close this was to the basket.
Yeah, rarely do you get deep inside the circle. So a 15 to 20 footer, that feels really good on this hole, not having to work.
It is a bonus birdie, even though there's a pure gap. And it is a stroke on almost the whole field. I would, if we could go back and look at stats on it, but I would doubt that there was more than a couple birdies on that hole per round out of the 40 or 50 MPO players that you had playing this event. So,
yeah, you're making some good progress already. 2 down through 2, gaining some strokes on the leader. We're moving into hole 3, which is a much more straightforward hole, probably one you would like to pick up the birdie on if you can. We talked about there being 2 gaps first round, and and everyone on the card showed the hyzer gap, but I'm curious to see if any of these guys show us the straight up the middle gap.
I made a disc change, as I said that I would. I went from Rock X3 in the first round to this Color Glow Infinite Chariot in the second round. It's a lot straighter, still has enough finish to it, but it actually allows my disc to get up there. Cole going straight at it, and this is a big boy shot. It takes a lot of skill to pure that line and get it to, hold straight for 312 feet, but it's a very pure gap to get to the basket if you can hit it.
Yeah, Jarod looks like he's going up the middle gap as well with his buzz. And these guys are making that gap look pretty big right now.
To me, I think it's a risk-reward thing. If I go on the outside, I'm going to get a putt almost every time. If I go inside, there's a good chance that I'm going to hit one of those 2 trees and have to basically lay up. But all 3 of them, after the first round, have adjusted and went up the middle, and none of them appear to have got inside the circle on that line.
Yeah, Chandler's probably about 60 feet out here, and this looks like a little uncomfortable spot to be in.
Yeah, we're looking maybe like 60 or 70 feet, but on any wooded course, and not that people don't play Serene, but it definitely doesn't get played a ton. Once you get off the beaten path, at times it can be hard to, get back into the proper fairway. And
Cole's lining up his birdie here.
Yeah, just a little short. I mean, this is not what I would consider a bonus hole, but it is one you want to get. And Colin did a great job of kind of getting the view of what I was looking at on this putt, and I'm really only about 25 feet.
Yeah, you're basically pin deep left, just even with it, and cashing in the birdie. That is a really good putt.
You ever feel like you're standing in a spot where all you got to do is hit the little gap in front of you and it's going to go in? I think that's kind of where I was there, and it almost helps me to putt sometimes when I'm feeling like that.
Yeah, I've definitely gotten that experience sometimes out at Serene where you may have a 40-footer, but if you hit the small little window 20 feet in front of you and you put it on a good line, it's just going to go right in the basket. And you demonstrated that well there.
Yeah, good start. 3 under through 3 have immediately tied Jarod up, which anytime that you're trailing going into a round, you're trying to push and get back to that lead. I want to play from in front. I don't want to be chasing. It's just the way that I like to put pressure on other players. We're going to move into hole 4. This is I would say a must birdie hole, honestly, on this course. Almost 300 feet. I would argue maybe even, yeah, that might be right. I mean, I'm throwing a stud pretty hard. I think that's pretty accurate distance-wise. I'm just trying to get it to turn over, and the basket is just out of view to the right. It's more of a straight shot than a full turnover, though.
Yeah, the basket used to be very straight on this hole, but James pushed it back farther right. A lot of shots kind of just bail out around those 3 white trees straight off the fairway. So he wanted to add a little technicality. So your bailout shot where you end up fading to doesn't give you an inside the circle putt. Puts you more around circle 2. Jared's throwing a real clean turnover with a buzz, listening for any kind of action, and that should be really good.
Yeah, Chandler's going to throw a turnover too. So 3 out of the 4 of us going with the turnover. Cole goes forehand, and Cole did what I would do if I tried to throw forehand on this, and that's smash the trees on the left side. I just don't quite have that stand-up. And this puts you outside of birdie range realistically. I guess it's an outside bid, but it would be a super bonus to make one from back here. Oh, Jared.
You guys are all so close. You don't even know where your shots are.
We're looking for the discs. It is a blind hole. I think we're trying to figure out. I just tapped in. That's all I can tell here. There we go. We found Jared's to the right side of the basket. Real clean shot. I almost wonder if his buzz caught something late to slow it down a little, because I feel like it's a pretty fast disc.
I don't think it did, because I was doing the catch cam up here, kind of pseudo spotting for you guys, and he just landed right up by that stuff. Just came in real nice there.
Chandler lining up his Challenger OS, which is what he putts with, and does it's pretty normal. He throws it right in the heart of the basket. So it is cool to play with these 3 guys putting wise, because they're all so aggressive and they're all great putters.
Cole's going to settle for the par here, mess up our star frame just a little bit, and bouncing back to what we talked about on round 1. Scott, you got the ham bone to start the round off. 4 in a row.
Got the ham bone. It's a bowling term for anyone that has not followed our other ones, but we're bringing it back. 4 holes, 4 under, 1 under, 1 under, 1 under. I would assume that the other guys would like to be 2 or 3 through those holes. There's a couple tough ones, but a couple options also to pick up. But we're going to take a quick break and kick it off to a sponsor.
This video is brought to you by Resistance Discs. Head over to resistancediscs.com and use code CHSports at checkout to get free shipping on any order over $25. Thank you to resistancediscs.com, and let's get back to the video.
Hole 5, otherwise known as my nemesis hole, was the only player to bogey it in the first round.
You weren't. You actually had one other MPO player bogey it, so you're looking for revenge here.
Let's see if we can get some revenge. The gap's still there. It's still really big. There's still nothing in the way if you throw it straight at the basket, so I'm going to take my stud out and see if I can hit the gap.
And you found your favorite tree, it looks like.
This is embarrassing. We talked about it in the first round. It's probably the easiest gap to hit on the course and the easiest hole on the course. To have it on video twice and fail to get even close. I'm not in a better spot this round than I was in the first round either when I kicked dead right. This is, again, jail.
Yeah, you're going to get a little bit different shot selection on the left side of the fairway. Try to save your par some way, but at least you didn't go into the river. That's the plus, I guess, from where you're at.
I was pretty close to it. Jared throws a little better version of what I did, which ends up being a way better version. Chandler yanks it to the right a little. Is he going to get through? Yep. Gets through clean, and he'll have a putt. All 3 of those drives are farther right off our hands than we would like them to be.
I think Cole's lining up a wasp here. He throws these Adam Hammis Tour Series wasps a lot.
And that's what you were trying to do. That one is actually straight at the basket. Going to slide up there, and he will have a putt. That looked pretty straight for a wasp.
Could have been a buzz. He throws. I know that both Jared and Cole were at this time throwing all Discraft bags, so there's a lot of Discraft discs flying on the card today.
I feel like I'm being discriminated against here with Colin editing so much time into showing exactly where my drive went on this hole. It brings back bad memories. I don't know what the plan was here. I honestly don't know if I was trying to throw a forehand roller or if I was just trying to throw a forehand that panned. I just know the angle was terrible, and I was probably pouting and didn't really have the option. And I will successfully be the only person in the MPO field, maybe the only person in the whole tournament to bogey this whole both rounds.
I can confirm I did go through at least the MPO cards, and you are the only MPO player to bogey this hole twice. But Jared's going to stick one from mid-circle, too.
Yeah, bang. And that's what Jarod does, right? That's the strength of his game is putting, and especially jump putting like this. He just gets those things on a line to the basket. And the challengers that he's putting with, they don't seem to move for him. They just stay dead straight and then finish a little at the end. That's a great pickup.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a tiny drop off right behind this basket. It's kind of on a little bit of a berm. So, if he misses the basket there and doesn't draw metal, he could be 30 plus feet from the basket at the speed he puts at and the height that's coming in.
Good cleanup by Cole. Another birdie. And Chandler hasn't even got to putt yet, and I'm throwing my fourth currently. I may have spoiled it by saying I bogeyed the hole twice, but this is... I feel like these putts are always easier when they're for bogey because you've stopped caring about anything else, and eventually you just toss them in.
Yeah, there's probably not a lot of feeling on this one. Just put it in, get this hole done with.
Yeah, there's no warm and fuzzies going through as you're getting ready to throw that putt. You're not proud of anything that you've done in the hole, so you're just trying to get off of it and go ahead and get the next one started. Chandler finds himself in a little bit of a tricky spot here, but thankfully his legs are 9 feet long, and he'll be able to straddle around the tree.
He's getting real flexible, though. Good hit from him.
Yeah, good putt, testing out the flexibility of the pants as well as himself, which sometimes can be an issue, but good putt, and I take my bogey to go back to 12 under. All three of the other players on the card take birdie as you should, so we're at 14, 12, 11, and 10 through 5 holes. We're moving on to hole 6, which a birdie opportunity, but not necessarily one that's easy. Your disc has got to start straight and then move pretty hard left right when it gets around the corner.
Yeah, there's a lot of danger early if you don't hit this initial gap right here. Jared's going with his Crystal Sparkle Stalker.
It might be the hardest disc ever to see on camera because it is clear.
Yeah, that is currently invisible to me, but I think it rounded the corner.
Are you going fairway driver on this, or are you trying to pump a mid to get there?
Yeah, I'm either going Stalker or Undertaker here, just trying to really smooth it out. I feel like if I try to pump it, I'm risking ripping it a little left or a little right into one of these trees or pushing it deep. I just like trying to be smooth on this hole.
Yeah, and I think Chandler went with a fairway also. Cole throws a little harder. I wouldn't be surprised if he's going buzz or some other form of a mid here. And then I am throwing mid for the second time. It didn't work in the first round, so I figured I'd try it again. I'm going to go with a Glow Rock X3 that's supposed to be overstable and is, but I pull it just like I did the one before, and it takes about the worst kick that it could have taken.
Yeah, not a lot of happiness on that shot. At least you're not as buried as deep as Dustin was in round 1, but definitely an awkward shot to try to get back to the fairway.
Yeah, I went down some access road that's not part of this hole, and thankfully stayed on the edge so I could go back to the basket from a knee and threw about the best shot that I could have thrown from there and got up onto the putting green. Cole kicked left over kind of into the stuff too, and also a good up shot. And then Jared's got probably 40 feet here, definitely inside Gogal range.
Absolutely. And he's heating up from the last one. 2 in a row from outside the circle. Jared's starting to feel it now.
Yeah, when he makes a couple of them, you get scared for the scorecard because he's going to start pumping them in from all over the place when he gets a little confident. So 2 really good putts back-to-back, 2 replays back-to-back. That one barely gets over the rim, but just dead center of the pole.
This is a great spot for Chandler. Like I said, I think round 1, almost as close as you can get coming up to these ferns here since it's sneakily under a little bit of a berm here. Oh, and that's...
Oh, dirty.
Maybe on a little bit of hyzer. That was rough.
Yeah, right side of the putter hitting the left side of the pole, and it didn't even try to go in.
No, that just sliced straight through.
So 3 of us are going to take par, and Jarod with a really good putt for birdie. And he's starting to separate a little early in the second round. And, the whole group of us, maybe Cole, I'm not sure, but none of us are real familiar with Camp Serene. So we're figuring it out as we go. If you can get some strokes on the rest of the card and get a hot start to a round, you can really put some separation because we're still questioning what we're doing on each hole.
I can definitely tell you Cole is a rookie to Camp Serene. I played a practice round with him on Wednesday, I think, of the week. Showed him around the course for the first time with Zoe Andike, and I don't think he was quite expecting the woods to be as tight as they were.
So that means I had 1 round going in, Jarod had 1 round going in, Cole had 1 round going in, and Chandler had 0 rounds going into this tournament at this course.
Pretty impressive how well you guys can just dissect the hole and come up and throw your shot you need to.
Hole 7, 228 feet, par 3. This is another must-get hole. There's 2 things you have to do. You have to throw it straight, and you have to avoid the ferns that do kind of stick up pretty high that I found in the first round. Those 2 are fine. Honestly, it's any kind of putter or slow mid-range that you want to throw. Cole's going with a little baby flex on a zone, which might be a little more stable than I would throw on this hole, but he gets it up onto the putting green, and I am going with my P2 here. Actually, I switched discs and decided to go with a putter to hopefully just get it to float a little more.
That looks like a good correction from round 1. Should be up there on the putting green.
Yeah, here we go. Cole, like we said, leaked out a little left, about 30 feet. On this hanging elevated basket that is the most secure hanging basket I've ever seen. So props to James and props to Cole on banging that 30-footer right there.
Yeah, he didn't look scared at that one at all. Just putting it in there.
I'm saying these 3 aren't scared of baskets. They just putt.
Oh, no.
At this point, I'm feeling like everything is going against me. I had the terrible drive on 5 that resulted in the bogey. I step up on 6 and throw a drive that's offline, but then I kick way right off of it. And then I throw a pretty good drive here on 7 and have it go all the way through and out the back. Maybe a little too much hyzer just because I'm putting uphill, but I'm talking either to myself or to, I don't even know, probably to myself at this point, trying to figure out where my life's at.
Maybe sending some bad mental thoughts at the basket.
All
Definitely
the bad mental thoughts.
That's a frustrating one, especially the way you see Jarod and Chandler jam some of these in here, and Cole too. They all putt with so much speed, and you're just trying to float yours in there, and cutting through isn't really a fun thing.
Right,
Put you out of the star frame here.
I messed up the star frame again. It's like I did that a couple holes ago too. This time I didn't bogey to mess it up. So Jarod, 4-shot lead now, 16, 12, 12, and 11, and we move into, I would say, the meat of the course kind of starts here on hole 8. This is a very tough. We're probably all throwing flex forehand. Maybe Chandler's not. I think that's kind of the obvious play to get it up to the basket, is taking a very stable distance driver and throwing it on a bunch of ante and then letting it come back right at the end.
And Jarod not very happy with that one. Looked clean most of the way, but it kicked something real late. As I was up there spotting, it just knocked one of the trees on the edge. Really close to being a pretty much perfect shot.
Chandler was trying to go under that giant vine again, misses it a little bit to the right, but got a long way up the fairway. So this is a really, really hard backhand hole. I didn't expect this play. I didn't expect someone to go high and up the middle with a backhand.
Looks solid, maybe a little too much movement left, but you're most of the way down the fairway.
Yeah, I think I ended up short right of the basket. Actually, PD2 came back at the end quite a bit, so I'll have a putt out of that one. Here's where Cole's high backhand ended up, and it's just a layup 3, but a fine one. Pars on this hole aren't hurting anything. This is where you can really start getting in trouble. You kind of get an idea with Jarod getting off the fairway, he's only about maybe 80 to 100 feet away from the basket, but he's throwing forehand roller with the putter because his lie's so bad.
Yeah, I think he caught a fern up pretty close to the basket, so there's a lot of stuff on the ground that can really grab you. But he's obviously inside of you at this point, and that's a great birdie to get.
Yeah, short right, ended up about 25 feet, and that makes up for the last couple holes. At least starts to do the correction for the last couple holes. It makes you feel a little better about where the start is to get back to 4 down through 8 holes and kind of be back in it. Jarod just to clean up for par, nice and easy. And like we said, there's no harm in that.
Not at all.
Does Jarod get bonus points for wearing the Resistance Discs shirt at the Resistance Discs Open?
I think he might have, he shot that really good round 1 score. It might have been some good mojo coming his way. It might have to be something you might have to do next year.
Did he put it on in between rounds, or was it one of those things as a sponsor you say, okay, you played well, you're on video, now you got to put this thing on?
No, he rocked it himself. I think he's gonna rock it all the rounds. I gave him a couple shirts and polos and stuff, and Jarod's always been really enthusiastic about helping me rep the brand, so I appreciate it a lot.
We're moving on to hole 9. This is the first par 4. I went Chariot last time, going Champion TL3 this time. Your only goal is to throw it as straight as possible and get really lucky and not hit a tree on this drive.
Yeah, that looked really good. Almost too good.
Yeah, it did go a little far. I will have something, but it almost went completely out the back. If you haven't played Serene, this is actually 2 holes combined, so we're combining normal hole 9 and normal hole 10 into a par 4, and it's got a lot of potential, but it's still pretty rough.
Yeah, we're getting to a good spot. I mean, you're definitely seeing birdies on it, but currently it's a hole that's rather punishing. If you're out of position and you don't take your medicine and lay up, you can end up finding yourself a really large number if you don't play this hole smart, if you're out of position.
Cole goes back to that tracker. Looks like got a tree on the way out. This is really tough if you don't get all the way to the middle of what would normally be 10's fairway to have an upshot. Jarod's going forehand Annie. I think it's another one that if it rolls, who cares as long as it rolls the correct direction. This is Scrambleville 101.
Yeah, I'm still not even sure. It looked like the way he was moving his hand that he was hoping it was going to maybe turn into a roller, but he could be just trying to air it all out. He's taking a second to make the decision here. You got to really fully commit to this if you're going to do it.
We got nap time before he goes. He does go with the forehand roller. I was kind of surprised for it to be as low as it was or as it did come out, but there's not much. Okay, Cole didn't get knocked down and ends up actually in the perfect spot, about as good as it can be. And then I assume that was a Luna that he was throwing and yanks it over to the right.
Yeah, that was definitely a mistake on his behalf. You're in a really good position there off the tee. That's when you got to get up and down and convert that birdie. Chandler's going back to the Z Extreme again, trying to replicate round 1.
You can't really tell where it ends up. Cole made the brave choice to make some dirt angels. There's no snow on the ground, but decided to lay down for a minute. I'm going back to the basket, kind of patent pending P2 here, and I went too far. This was about the only thing I had on that angle. I couldn't go higher because there's branches hanging over. It was kind of an unfortunate break for a drive that was so clean.
Yeah, you saw Jarod off to the right. We were looking at you throw to give you a perspective, and Colin shows it well there as well. He was deep, and it is really rough over there. All those trees are dense, and they're just skinny little, hard to get through.
Yeah, Cole Easy Up's going to take his 4. Jarod's got work left for a 4. Chandler with an opportunity to throw in a birdie here and gives it a really good bid. It's quite a bit uphill from there, and nothing wrong with pars on this hole. It's not losing strokes to the field at all. I have a chance to have 6 total strokes on this hole while having 8 total strokes on hole 5.
Wow. And that's, you're making up for hole 5 in the right place.
Yeah, now those can kind of wash each other out because there's 2 really good birdies on hole 9, which had to be one of the least birdie holes that we played. Jarod goes banned, and all of a sudden, just like we saw Andrew do in the first round, the leader in our card takes a 5 on this hole while there's some birdies, and it brings things back together a little closer to end our front 9.
Yeah, Jared's not going to be ending off this front 9 the way he probably would hoped he would, but still feeling like he could be in the driver's seat. He's got some good corrections to make, and he's got strokes to play with right now.
Overall, kind of what you expect to see on the front 9. I'm at 5, which I would say is a good front 9, minus those like 2 or 3 holes in the middle. And then 3 under's pretty standard probably for everybody else. Maybe you'd like to get to 4. But in reality, we have some scoring opportunities coming up. The back's a little trickier, so we'll see who can make a move here.
Yeah, we're getting into a little stretch of holes that are a little shorter but technical. Scoring opportunities are all about, as we saw in round 1, shredding up the back 9. And thanks for joining us for round 2, front 9 of the 2020 Resistance Discs Open.
Hey guys, Colin here with CH Sports. I just wanted to give a huge shout out to my coverage sponsors. These videos would not be able to come to life without these people's help, so I really appreciate it. There's plans starting as low as $3 a month, and every single dollar helps grow the channel. If you would like to see your name or business listed in the credits of every single one of my videos, please head over to patreon.com/chsports.